Hello there, everyone. So today we are going to get into the founding of the Mamluk Sultanate. This specifically is in Egypt. This is continuing talking about our Islamic empires of the later part of the Middle Ages. So let's get into it. Now, Mamluks is very interesting. These folks are actually slaves. Yes, that's how they are starting. Mamluk is meaning owned, as one who is owned. Now, most of these people ethnically that were taken into Egypt to form their Mamluks were Kipchak Turks, which are from the orangey type sections. And these are boys who would actually be taken at age 13, maybe 12, and brought into the empire in Egypt at that time that would be used for a variety of things. And that means training. So this isn't just like agricultural slaves, which is what most people think of. The slavery here was a little bit different. Many of these people would get training in science and literature, so a lot of them would be able to read, but the vast majority of them would actually be used for the military. Yes, slave armies. This is not going to be uncommon. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different times. And particularly, we see this a lot in the Muslim empires. And basically, you have to rely on these people being the Mamluks have to rely on their quote-unquote owners because they unfortunately have no families because, they're taken out of their homes. And what's weird is that they also developed this kind of, I want to say like farcical type freedom, is that once you received your training and were entered into whatever area you were going to enter, you would be then quote unquote freed, but because you had been given housing and would still be given housing and food and all that type of stuff, you need to remain loyal to the sultans and then the other slave owners. It's like, and then you would just stay being a slave. I don't know. It was weird. On the right there, you see a Mamluk soldier from Egypt, and basically that was their life. They lived in barracks, and that's what they did. Everything around their lives was circled around the military. Even their free time was spent doing cavalry type things or archery contests and all of that type of thing. So it was really, really important for them to be kind of constantly involved in the military, which they were. And they were outstanding soldiers. And the dynasty that we are going to focus on first that precedes the Mamluks is the Ayyubid dynasty. This was the dynasty that was established by Saladin in the early 1100s. This would be a Kurdish dynasty. And as you can see under Saladin, they conquered a lot of land. Like, look at all that area from Yemen all the way up to Syria and modern-day Turkey, and then out to Libya, and then as well as parts of, most of Egypt and parts of Sudan. And they did very, very well. But by the early 1200s, it's this constantly dealing with the Crusaders. They are able to take Jerusalem back, but you have the Crusader states, which are in green, so they would be run by the Europeans, as well as wave after wave of crusades. Now, granted, they win most of them. The Europeans, after the First Crusade, don't really do well. They get one more tie, and then other than that, you just smacked around. But you're constantly being invaded. So it's something that they were always under threat. And then when we get to the mid-1200s, you're hearing about these Mongols. You don't know who they are, but they're slowly but surely working their way over into your area of control, and you're hearing them like wiping everybody out. So it's kind of scary in what you have to deal with. So then something remarkably happens. The Seventh Crusade, led by Louis IX of France. You see him there on the top right, who would actually be sainted. So Louis IX is coming to lead a crusade to take more of the Holy Land back and establish power, of course, in Egypt. And in 1249, he is going to invade and actually for a short while take over the city of Damietta, which is down here. And victory in Damietta, which is then like immediately followed by the death of the Ayyubid Sultan. So it's like, what's happening? So 1249, it's like, this is not good. Like, what are we supposed to do? And the Ayyubids seem to be in trouble. But that is when the slave Ruk ad-Din Baybars, or we just call him Baybars, is going to come into the history books. Baybars is one of the top military commanders that is going to kind of take back a little bit of control of the military and is able to fight back against the French until ultimately he completely destroys the French at the Battle of Al-Mansoura, or better known by Europeans as Al-Mansur. And not only do they crush the French, they also take King Louis IX captive, as you can see there by the picture on the right. And on the left, that is Baybars. So now they're in a pretty interesting spot. I mean, the Sultan's dead. The Mamluk army has defeated the French. They have another, the king captive. So it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do? And so what we're going to do is this. We are going to ransom Louis out for 400,000 livres, which is a stupid amount of money. I don't know the conversion rate. I have there a Mamluk coin, just, because. But then what they're going to do is something even more important. They are going to basically get their commander, Izz al-Din Aibak, married to the wife of the last sultan, establishing himself as sultan, and then now all of a sudden the slave army that was once, beholden to the Ayyubid dynasty has now overthrown them in a way and now is in control. So from slave to sultan. But it doesn't mean that it was all smooth sailing. The first, 5-6 years of this was crazy, okay? In the 1250 was when the dynasty is established. And then not too long after that, Aibak is assassinated. So it's like, oh no, like, what are we going to do here? And you actually get, like, a civil war over a variety of claimants to the throne, and some people are trying to push the Mamluks back out. But finally, by the mid-1250s, Saif ad-Din Qutuz, who is another Mamluk, so another slave, is able to calm everything down. He's able to reestablish order, and the Mamluk dynasty is still going to continue on its way. But then it's like, oh gosh, so we beat the French, we have a civil war, and now the Mongols are coming. And here they come. In 1258, they take Baghdad, and they just annihilate it, and they kill 250,000 people. Shortly after that, they're in Syria, and they're wiping every other major Islamic empire out. They actually stopped for a while to try to kill all the assassins, because, again, problems. And everything is so bad right now. You talk to many Muslims at that time in the mid-1200s here, and I'll talk about the Muslims more. They already knocked off the Khwarizmid Empire. They really thought it was the end of days, the apocalypse, the coming of the end of the world, because they're constantly being attacked by the Crusaders. Now the Mongols are coming and just lighting everybody on fire. Like, what are we going to do? The Mongols themselves, though, do send word to Qutuz and saying, okay, you can surrender or we're to kill all of you. Qutuz then does something remarkable. Not only does he say no, but he actually kills the Mongol diplomats. This is important to understand because diplomacy is super important for the Mongols. They believed in a certain amount of decorum with that. And so it's like, by doing this, you know they're going to come for you. Qutuz, so he kills the diplomats. He actually mounts their heads on the gates of Cairo, and they are ready to go. And so Baybars is mobilized again, the army, and they are ready to go. And then the remarkable Battle of Ain Jalut. This is a Arabic depiction of it. Baybars comes out, and they are able to crush the Mongols. It is perhaps one of the most decisive defeats of the Mongols ever. It stops them cold. Now, they'll come back every now and again. Some successor kingdoms, like the Ilkhanate of Persia, will do some raids. But as far as like the classic Mongol advance, it is stopped cold. It is incredible. It seems to be the key difference was that the Mamluks were in possession of really, really strong, heavy cavalry with larger horses than the Mongols, and they kind of were able to match the Mongol mobility a little bit and were able to defeat them. But then in a remarkable thing, Baybars is like, wait, so I won against the French. Now I've won against the Mongols. Forget this. He actually kills Kutuz on the way back to Cairo and seizes power and will continue on with the dynasty. This will be a theme because many, many Mamluk Egyptian sultans will be assassinated. But they're in. They beat the French. They beat the Mongols. They faced the Civil War, all within 10 years, and now they're ready to go. All right, so my next video, we're going to get into them and what they did and how it progressed from there in their fall, and I'll see you guys soon.